Central Bank of Nigeria says that the country's digital currency will be launched on October 1st. And this after the regulator had been conducting research towards the launch of digital currencies since 2017. Nigeria is not the only country on this project, and like in other countries, the CBN had banned cryptocurrency transactions by banks, and some other countries have hinted on tightened regulation on cryptocurrency. But what will this digital currency mean to Nigeria? Senator Heya, President Stakeholders in Blockchain Technology Association of Nigeria, joins us now. Great to have you on the program. Good morning.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so I don't know what it's going to be called. Maybe E-Naira coin, E-Naira, you know, whatever it is. But paint a picture. How is this actually going to work? Is this going to complement, you know, the Naira, or do we see maybe the e-currency actually taking over at some point?
Just as an investment.
Exactly.
All right. You know, when it comes to payments and the general financial system in the country, you find that the CBN has made quite a lot of efforts in ensuring that Nigeria's payments and financial service system is quite competitive if you look at it from the global angle. And that, I have to commend the CBN from the regulatory policy perspective. The CBN has been trying to ensure that Nigerians can have very globally competitive payment systems. Now, the picture of E-Naira, where did that start from? A lot of people were shocked that the CBN has said as early as October 1, it will be able to launch the pilot scheme. And when did they start? So the thing is, like every other country out there when it comes to the emergence or development of central bank digital currencies. The idea is this. First, there seems to be lower pressure on the use of cash. A lot of people are using electronic means of payments increasingly. Secondly, there's the idea that users or people generally now seem to also be embracing private electronic currencies or digital currencies such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all of that. And that has its own risk and threats as far as the financial system is concerned. And then there's the issue of also enabling a system whereby you don't just have the financial institutions intermediating between the central bank and the users, the customers. Over the years, people are now looking at the situation where we could remove the intermediaries and have the central bank bank Nigerians or citizens directly. Yeah. And so the idea of central bank digital currency, if you look at it from a defensive angle, it is to ensure that the central bank is in control of the financial system in a manner that it can control its monetary policy effectively, its fiscal policy effectively. If it doesn't take that charge, it might be opening itself to the risk and vulnerabilities and all the vagaries that comes with adoption of, but I'm
Bitcoin curious, how do you think the wallets will actually work? Yes. Because, you know, we have, you know, Bitcoin wallets and Ethereum wallets. So, you know, with this central bank digital currency, do we expect to have wallets just like it is with Bitcoin? And should we expect airdrops?
All right. Well, I wouldn't be able to speak for the central bank, but I was privileged to be part of those stakeholders who were invited by the technical working committee of the central bank digital currency in Nigeria to participate in a stakeholder engagement in my capacity as the president of CBAN. And I listened to the head of the IT at central bank present what ideas the central bank has as far as the E-Naira is concerned. And it was pretty interesting. First, the idea of the E-Naira is to enable central bank drive certain policies. Policies around remittances. They're looking at more efficiency around that area. Policy around cross-border transactions as well. Policies around tax allocation or tax management, right? And then, of course, generally improving the payment systems, right? Now, how does that going to work? The technology part, that's the issue now. And according to the ICT head, in terms of technology, the central bank is actually looking at the blockchain, not just any database technology, but blockchain. And it has said that this is based on the design, it thinks is best for the E-Naira. Now, since it's going to be blockchain, then there has to be wallets. And if you look at other central banks, what they have been looking at is, hey, there are two types of central bank digital currencies. Which one should we go for? So there's the retail CBDC, which allows that relationship directly from the central bank to the citizens. And then there's the wholesale CBDC, which allows the banks and the financial institutions to play that intermediating role between the central bank and the citizens. So the first thing that any central bank thinks about is, which one should we go for? For Nigeria, from what we found out from the stakeholders' engagements, it's neither here nor there. It's an hybrid system. So they have said, hey, we're adopting an hybrid system whereby the banks, especially commercial banks, we don't want to remove them from this banking and financial services relationship. Because if you look at the idea or the importance of liquidity that the bank depositors provide, you want to be sure that you are not removing the deposit banks from that relationship. Otherwise, there will be more risk.
That's actually...
Yes, so that's the hybrid system. Yeah. So it's an hybrid system. Right. So you allow the financial institutions play their role. At the same time, the retailers, retail citizens are able to also participate in a more open, transparent, faster, more cost-effective.
So who are the targets here? Because I like to look at reality.
Yes.
I mean, let's get away from all the, the paperwork and the proposals, and I like to look at the reality. When we talk of e-payments, financial inclusion, already we have, we're not doing as much as some other African countries because of access. Now this seems more sophisticated than, the normal e-payment systems that we have. So what is the essence of this? Who are the targets? What do we hope to achieve? Or do we just want to do it to compete with cryptocurrency?
How do we get the grassroots to also participate?
Do you understand? And majority of us are the grassroots. So,
that's a good question. And a lot of people have been wondering about that, including some of the stakeholders at the last engagement with the CBN. This more like dropped from the sky for many people.
Right.
And so there are many questions out there. That's in terms of why do we need this right now? I think that the CBN did not start getting into this now. I think it started in 2017.
Yeah, they said the research started in 2017.
In 2017. Yeah. If it started in 2017, coincidentally or, curiously, it was also in 2017 the CBN got involved in this cryptocurrency activity. It was in 2017, January precisely, the CBN said, hey, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and others are not legal tender.
Oh, yes,
stay clear of it.
Yeah.
That was it. So
and then now that the banks cannot...
So it's an interesting coincidence that at the same time that the CBN went into research into CBDC, is the same time that that warning came. Oh, all right? So perhaps, maybe the CBN hasn't said anything about this, but it's not going to be strange if it is so, because if you go to other countries, Cambodia, for instance, which now has its own digital currency, real, Cambodia, they came out outrightly and said, hey, we don't understand this cryptocurrency stuff. If we allow it to keep getting bigger while we're here, we might just run our financial system into some very, very bad situation. So in order to
put up what they will understand, they had this.
Exactly.
So I think the CBN has to tell us, because a lot of Nigerians are involved in cryptocurrency as investment, as a source of income. So is this just supposed to distract people from that? Or are you giving us an alternative to what cryptocurrency or Bitcoin and all of that? I mean, even when the banks are banned, people still go into it. They do peer-to-peer and things like that. So, what are we doing with this?
One of the most interesting things about the adoption of blockchain technology across the world is that we find that the peculiarities or experiences of each country come to play. So you find, for instance, if you go to places like China, China's peculiarities, and it's all about control. They want control. So Bitcoin, get out of the room. Hey, get out of the room. They want all the control.
Right.
Right? Now, if you go to places like Jamaica, Jamaica is not all about control. They are more citizen-focused. And so, how can we open up the financial system in a way that there can be new players in the system and also deepen financial inclusion? So countries like Jamaica, Cambodia, they're on that table. Theirs is not about government control and how you want to, censor anyone. It's basically about, hey, this money we call the legal tender is not getting out there because of this way the system works. The banking system with its KYC and AML issues, up to 20, just about 22% of citizens in Cambodia.
China is about control. Jamaica is about getting. What is Nigeria about? You were at the stakeholders meeting. Yes. You're expected to have answers.
Yes.
You should have asked these questions. We need to know.
Now, when it comes to Nigeria, right? From what we see, I think the central bank is concerned about the continued adoption of cryptocurrencies in Nigeria. Okay. I mean, it's all over the place, right? And it's getting bigger. Even after the ban, so-called ban, in quotes, the restriction, right, which was released by the central bank in February. Guess what? It has gone even bigger. So people are not stopping in any way. So it's all about, I think it's all about how can we defend the system and provide an alternative in a way that all those, I mean, look at our remittances, right? I think one of the concerns the CBN had was remittances. It looks like remittances are now going through other corridors, away from the central banking system. And it could be Bitcoin doing all that. It could be Ethereum.
All right, Senator, let's just, I want you to look into your crystal ball. See the E-Naira, gets launched, everybody's using it, other countries start, using their own digital currencies. What happens to Bitcoin?
All right, crystal ball. All right. Yeah. So this is it. If we understand that one of the main purposes for which E-Naira or CBDCs have been introduced in the first place is because of the attack, quote and unquote, from private currencies like Bitcoin. My crystal ball tells me that all over the world where we have CBDC in focus by the central banks, we should not expect very friendly regulation when it comes to adoption of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, so that there will be no competition. I mean, it's almost natural that you cannot create a competitor for your own system, your own product, right? And I think that's the way China has been looking at it. But that would be the wrong way about it, if you ask me. Because if you go to places like the US, where they are also having this conversation, the US is very concerned about the potentials of cryptocurrencies themselves as crypto assets, not as currency. And so if you go to the US, unlike here, a lot of focus is usually from the SECN, the Securities and Exchange Commission. Why? Because Bitcoin, they are essentially assets, not really currencies.
Digital gold.
So I mean, it shouldn't be a competition to E-Naira then.
Yes,
because I think one of the focus of the CBN is to have the project as a legal tender.
Exactly, as a legal tender. Yeah. So it shouldn't be a competition. Right. So what we should be seeing, or I expect that we see, is that the federal government is going to take a more comprehensive look at this and bring all the financial regulators to the table, including the stakeholders, of course, and say, all right, as far as cryptocurrencies are concerned, the Bitcoin, all of them, they are not really money, right? How about we have a conversation with the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission? 2020, September, the Securities and Exchange Commission came up and said, we believe that cryptocurrencies are digital innovations, financial innovations. The Vice
President has made statements, to give it a chance.
So what I expect is that as Nigerians embrace E-Naira for the purpose of payments, cross-border transactions, remittances, and all of that, I also expect that the conversation on the better regulatory approach to cryptocurrency adoption will also be going on by the sides, especially one that is championed by this SEC, not the central bank. If you
because
go
we're
all
looking
across
at it
as assets,
and
not as money.
Exactly.
All right, so that's it.
Digital gold.
Digital gold. You can
Well,
say
quite
that
an
again.
interesting conversation. I will be looking at the 1st of October to see the launch.
We're all looking forward to